August is filled with great games for Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. From major releases and long-awaited sequels to hidden gems and cozy adventures, there's plenty to look forward to. Here are the 20 biggest games you should have on your radar this month. Let's get started. Grim Trials is a heavy metal roguelite from Indonesian studio Glory Jam, and it's exactly as intense as that sounds. You play as Evelyn, a young woman who dies before her time and gets recruited as one of Death's Reapers. She's sent into an underworld shaped by her own memories, hunting down corrupted souls and fighting her way through sinful bosses, all because she wants one more shot at seeing her still living love. The combat drops you into endless hex grid arenas where you dual-wield customizable sides and crossbows at the same time. You craft and combine weapons yourself, then tweak them between runs. 7 big, sacrilegious bosses are waiting, and between runs, you can also befriend other Reapers, learn from mentors, and slowly piece together the secrets of Evelyn's past life. The soundtrack is all original metal from Indonesian band Sigmund, and it hits hard. Lagoon is a cozy open-world adventure from developer Tiny Roar, and it's the kind of game that just makes you feel good. Your Uncle Lou has vanished after sending out a distress call, so you take over his seaplane delivery service in the tropical Limbo archipelago. Armed with your trusty vacuum called the Swirler 2000, you fly island to island, collecting resources, crafting items, delivering goods, and slowly helping communities rebuild after a devastating storm. The seaplane is fully upgradable and customizable, and you'll use it to race through ring courses, dodge pirates, push through storms, and reach new islands as you expand your reach. There's fishing, crafting, mystery solving, and a whole hidden story behind Lou's disappearance that unfolds through 13 different possible endings depending on your choices. The Switch 2 version runs at a higher resolution and frame rate. Grave Seasons is a farming sim with a dark twist from developer Perfect's Garbage and publisher Blumhouse Games. Yeah, the horror movie people. You play as someone who just escaped jail and moved to the small town of Ashen Ridge to start fresh. You grow crops, fish, mine, sell goods, build friendships, and try to settle into a normal life. But then, people start getting killed. Someone in this town is a supernatural serial killer, and you have to figure out who it is before they strike again. The wild part is that you can actually romance the killer if you discover who they are. Every NPC relationship matters because any of them could be the one behind it all. The gameplay is a proper farming loop, not just window dressing, so you're genuinely managing crops and economy while investigating murders on the side. It's a strange and genuinely fresh take on the genre. Akatori is a pixel art Metroidvania from Contrast Games, and it's been building a strong following in the indie scene. You play as Mako, a young girl who's been pulled into the magical worlds of Arcalia on a mission to stop an ancient god from being awakened. The combat is fast and combo heavy. You carry a quarterstaff and a hand fan, and you can juggle enemies from the ground into midair and keep the pressure going up there. The signature mechanic is the World Warp, where certain zones can be rotated 180 degrees to flip you into a parallel dimension, revealing entirely new paths and areas. It turns what would just be a standard exploration game into something that consistently keeps you thinking. The world is layered with secrets, and the story gradually opens up as you recruit allies and go deeper into what's really happening in Arcalia. The pixel art is genuinely beautiful, and the platforming feels tight. Duskfade. You're Zirian, a young hero whose sister gets trapped in a mysterious clock tower after it plunges the whole world into eternal night. With his mechanical companion Cuckoo by his side, Zirian sets out across a clockpunk world to find the Master Clockmaker's secrets and put an end to the curse. Gameplay is built around fast movement. You slash, grind, jump, and grapple through environments like ethereal forests, underwater realms, scorched deserts, and sky kingdoms. Each enemy type represents a deeper emotional hurdle for Zirian personally, which gives the combat a bit more weight than you'd expect from a game this colorful. Gadgets unlock as you go, expanding what you can do in levels you've already cleared. The hand-painted art style stands out immediately, and the bosses are reportedly some of the most memorable fights in any game this year. FixFox. You play as Vix, an unlucky space mechanic who crash lands on the planet Caramel, a world where tools are forbidden. Instead of wrenches and screwdrivers, she has to use coins, bandages, glowing bananas, and whatever else she can scrounge up to repair the friendly appliances she encounters. Alongside her toolbox tin, Vix explores the planet on a scooter, clears paths with a power loader, and slowly unravels the mystery of why tools are banned here. It's a puzzle adventure at its core, but everything is wrapped in a chill, cozy energy. The chiptune soundtrack hums along as you discover secret locations, camp under the stars, and just exist in this strange little world. The characters radiate warmth. Reviewers often compare the vibe to a Pixar short. It's not long or punishing. It respects your time. If you want something light, genuinely sweet, and just plain nice to be in, FixFox is exactly that kind of game. Gods with guns. You pick from legendary characters Odin, Thor, Loki, Hela, and fight through waves of enemies as Ragnarok unfolds around you. The gameplay is fast and arcadey, tight gun handling, endless waves of bullets and monsters, and a card-based system that lets you build power combinations between stages. Every run, you're collecting cards to stack your character's abilities into something unpredictable and satisfying. It's the kind of game where one run you're slow and methodical, and the next you've built something that turns the screen into pure chaos. The price point is accessible at $9.99, which makes it easy to jump in without commitment. It's not trying to revolutionize the genre, it's just a sharp, well-made roguelite shooter that leans into its mythology setting with confidence. Good pick if you want something you can drop into for 30-minute sessions and keep pushing for one more run. Kynseed is a life sim RPG from Pixel Count Studios, built by veterans who worked on the Fable series, and you can feel that DNA all over it. The hook is the Kynseed itself, a mystical acorn you plant that grows into a family tree, and your choices literally grow its branches. You raise a family, farm the land, battle dark fairy tale creatures, and run your own business, whether that's a blacksmith, a potion shop, a tavern, or a general store. The world of Quill is alive and aging around you. NPCs grow old, die, and are replaced by their children. When your character dies, you step into the role of your own child and keep the legacy going across generations. Skills and reputation pass down. The Switch version arrives with all 10+ major updates already included, including the Tavern update that lets you hire staff and manage a whole social hub. Brigandine, Abyss. The story is set on the continent of Meltaiti, where 200 years ago, the Abyssloa Empire was stopped by a legendary arcane armor called the Brigandine. Now, a new Abyssloa Empire has risen and is ready to conquer everything. 6 separate story campaigns let you approach the conflict from different angles, 6 different protagonists, 6 different perspectives on what's happening and why. The gameplay runs on 2 alternating phases: Organization, where you recruit units, manage resources, and position your forces on the map, and the Attack phase, where hex grid combat plays out in real time. You need to account for skills, elemental weaknesses, and the development of the monsters that fight alongside your officers. On top of the campaigns, Mission Mode gives you 24 different factions to control, each with unique win conditions and no narrative obligation, just pure strategic domination. Kalanoro is one of the most refreshing-looking platformers of the year. Developed by Red Roqueta Studio, a team based in Madagascar, the game is a direct tribute to Malagasy folklore, music, and artistic culture, and it shows in everything from the hand-drawn art to the enemy designs. You play as Kalakali, a small, fluffy creature from folklore who's been chosen by prophecy to overthrow the witch Reneni. She's seized control of the island of Lemuria and is throwing a concert in her own honor, forcing all the greatest artists to perform. Your response? Build a band. You travel across vibrant biomes, rescue eccentric lemur musicians from her clutches, and use your party's powers, including hair-based abilities and improvised weapons like slippers, to fight through her forces. Combat is fast and combo-driven. Platforming sections are built around momentum and hazards, and every new musician you recruit adds something to your kit. Captain Tsubasa 2, World Fighters. 6 years after the first entry, Bandai Namco and Tamsoft are back with the biggest Captain Tsubasa game yet. You create your own player, join Tsubasa's squad, and battle through the Asian Youth Championship, all the way to the World Youth Championship. There are 22 national teams, over 110 playable characters, and more than 150 new animated special moves. Everything is superpowered here. Dribbles, tackles, passes, and shots all have their own special techniques you can chain together. The goalkeeper versus shooter system makes saves and shots feel like their own mini-duels. Original story content was supervised by series creator Yoichi Takahashi, and the composer is back with over 100 new tracks. It's not trying to be a realistic football sim at all. It's anime football, and it fully commits to that with every frame of animation. The Witch's Bakery is a cozy adventure RPG from Sunny Lab that takes place in a hand-drawn modern Paris, and it's one of the most charming games of the month. You play as Luna, a young witch who moves to the city and opens her own bakery. She has one special ability. She can see inside people's hearts and heal their emotions through magic. Each day splits into 3 phases: daytime, running the bakery and serving customers with your team; evenings, exploring Paris and deepening friendships; and nights, resting, improving your magic, and decorating your space. The storytelling mechanic is what makes this stand out. When someone's emotional pain is too deep, Luna enters their heart palace, a magical space where their feelings take physical shape. Inside, she has to guide their suppressed emotion back to their heart, and doing so reveals the ingredient she needs to bake them something that actually heals them. Big Walk. It's a cooperative multiplayer adventure for 2 to 12 players about exploring a peaceful, wide-open world together, solving problems, and just hanging out. The central idea is communication. You and your friends are spread across a big island, and staying in contact requires actual tools. Walkie-talkies, laser pointers, binoculars, megaphones, flares, and whiteboards. Proximity voice chat changes how your voice sounds as you move away from each other. You can gesture and point, but sometimes your ability to talk gets cut off entirely, and you have to figure out how to work as a team when words aren't available. Challenges, puzzles, and discoveries are scattered throughout, but there's no pressure to rush. You can sit with a friend and just watch the sunset, or steal someone's binoculars and throw them into the ocean. It supports cross-platform play and includes mouse controls. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. Konami is bringing Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots to a Nintendo platform for the very first time, a game that was previously a PlayStation 3 exclusive for almost 20 years. The collection bundles MGS4 alongside Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker in its HD collection version, with Metal Gear Ghost Babel and a digital soundtrack as bonus content. MGS4 has been updated with improved resolution, frame rate, and custom controls for modern hardware. Peace Walker gets custom controls and supports online co-op for up to 6 players. Ghost Babel, one of the best Game Boy Color games ever made, comes with screen filters, rewind, and pixel-perfect settings. MGS4 follows an aging Solid Snake on his final mission in a world where private military corporations have taken over warfare, and it's one of the most cinematic games ever made. Blazblue Entropy Effect X is a roguelite action game set in the Blazblue universe with fast, stylish 2D combat, and the Switch 2 version is the definitive way to play it. The story takes place in a mysterious domain called the Lab, where elite researchers are racing to save a collapsing world. But the head researcher, Dr. Mercurius, tells everyone the end is coming regardless. Characters from across the Blazblue franchise appear as playable fighters, each with signature moves and distinct playstyles. You work through branching runs, build synergies between abilities, and push further into the mystery each time. The Switch 2 edition launches with enhanced visuals, improved frame rate, game share support, and exclusive cosmetics. At the same time, a free major update hits all platforms, adding new playable character, Platinum, an upgraded training space, and new branching route options. Skatesterre is a love letter to the golden era of arcade skating games. Think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the original Thrasher, those early 2000s classics, rebuilt for modern hardware with a fresh face. You play as Sterre Meyer, a real Dutch pro skateboarder known as Surfsterre, as she tears through streets, parks, and urban playgrounds packed with rails, ramps, gaps, and hidden lines. The combo system rewards creativity. Kickflips, grabs, manuals, grinds, all chain together and stack into massive score multipliers. Levels are built for experimentation, so finding new lines through the same map is part of the appeal. Complete missions to unlock fashion gear and build out Sterre's look as you progress. The soundtrack is all underground skate punk and skate rock, channeling the exact attitude of late 90s and early 2000s skate culture. Pro Jank Footy. It's an arcade sports game built around Australian rules football, a real sport that for most of the world sounds completely made up. From Powerbomb Games and Tinkertown, the fundamental mechanic is this. When you score a goal, the other team gets to pick a power-up. Those power-ups can make them faster, add a superstar player, slow you down, change the layout of the field, introduce a third team, or turn every player into a football or a seagull. By the end of a match, the game barely resembles what it started as. There are hundreds of power-ups and abilities that stack as goals pile up, and the developers designed it as a love letter to NBA Jam and NHL 94 era arcade madness. You can play it solo, couch co-op, or online. It works whether you know Australian rules football or have never heard of it. The joke is that most of the world hasn't. Lies of P Complete Edition. You play as P, Geppetto's puppet, waking up in the ruined Belle Epoque city of Krat, where the puppet workforce has gone violently out of control. The city is collapsing, monsters roam the streets, and nobody knows why everything fell apart. Combat is precise and demanding you parry attacks, time your strikes, and manage stamina carefully. What makes Lies of P different is its weapon crafting system. Blades and handles are interchangeable, so you build your own weapon combos from a huge pool of parts. Legion Arms mechanical prosthetics add extra offensive or utility options. The choices you make, including whether P chooses to lie or tell the truth in key moments, affect the story and lead to multiple distinct endings. The Complete Edition bundles the base game with the Overture expansion, a prequel chapter that fills in the history of Krat before it collapsed. The Elder Scrolls 4: Oblivion Remastered. The full game is on the cartridge. You play as a prisoner in the Imperial City who witnesses the assassination of Emperor Uriel Septim, and from there, you're plunged into a massive crisis. The gates to the realm of Oblivion are opening across the province of Cyrodiil, and only you can stop the invasion. The world is open, the quests are deep, and the factions, the Thieves Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, the Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild, all have full storylines worth your time independent of the main quest. The Switch 2 version includes the Shivering Isles expansion, Knights of the Nine, and all the DLC packs. Visuals are rebuilt with UE5 lighting and character models, combat is refined, and the dialogue system and UI have been modernized. Motion controls are also supported for exploration. Bethesda brought Skyrim to Switch back in the day. Now, they've outdone themselves. Elden Ring, Tarnished Edition. Co-created by Hidetaka Miyazaki of Dark Souls fame and George R.R. Martin, the game takes place in the Lands Between, a vast open world of ruins, castles, underground kingdoms, and corrupted landscapes. You're a Tarnished, an outcast summoned back to restore the shattered Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. The world is dangerous, mysterious, and layered with story, told mostly through item descriptions and environmental details. Combat is slow, deliberate, and rewarding. You build your character your own way: pure strength, magic, dexterity, faith, and the open world lets you tackle it in almost any order. The Tarnished Edition brings the base game and the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, which takes you to an entirely new realm with new bosses, weapons, and storylines. Switch 2 exclusive content includes 2 new starting classes and torrent customization options. 20 games dropping this August across Switch and Switch 2. Whether you're here for the biggest RPGs ever made or a chaotic Aussie footy game that turns players into seagulls, August has something for everyone. Drop a comment below with the game you're most excited for. Thanks for watching.